Welcome to But Her Lyrics, the show where we delve into the meaning and politics behind the songs of artists you love or are about to discover right now. I'm Shawna Potter, singer and lyricist for War on Women, and your host. Today we're going to break down the song Wrapped Up Post-Roe, written and performed by feminist, activist, and self-proclaimed queerdo MuMu. I then chat with two amazing people from the Baltimore Abortion Fund who help put the recent erosion of our rights into perspective and tell us how we can get involved and help right now. So general content warning, we are talking about abortion today. Burr, 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 burr. Funny side story here. Maybe I won't even put in the show, but recently at War on Women shows, I've been wearing a shirt I got from the organization Shout Your Abortion. And it reads, I will aid and abet abortion. A total no-brainer for me, right? I mean, duh. And so we just got off this tour with Cancer Bats and Spaced, which was great. We played our hometown of Baltimore for the first time in like 3 or 4 years. It was packed. It was sweaty. It was amazing. But during our set, in between songs, someone came to the front of the stage and waved me down to get my attention and said, and was like kind of saying like, give me the mic. And I said, no, but what's up? What do you need? And I hear Brooks's guitar, like we are literally starting the next song. And this person just had to ask me in the middle of our show, okay, but do you really aid and abet abortion? And I said, yeah. And they said, oh, okay. And then they went back into the crowd. And you know, at first I thought, well, maybe they needed help. They wanted to make sure that they could ask me for help after the show or something like that. But then once they got their answer, it seemed more like they were just testing me. It was super odd. So for the record, I have been and will continue to be public about the fact that I will help anyone who wants to get an abortion get one. And I understand that in the U.S., that could put me in legal trouble right now. And I don't care, because it's the right thing to do. But I also understand that by being so public, I might not be a safe option for anonymous help, right? Because some asshole pro-lifer on a mission might say, let's check the phone records of this baby-killing feminazi. I don't fucking know how it works or how it's going to work if things keep going the way they're going. So as a fail-safe, please listen to this entire episode and figure out how you can be of help. Just in case I'm not available and I'm not the right choice for someone, I want you to be the right choice for someone, because for some, it is life or death. So just to quickly weed out any anti-choicers that are still listening, let's tackle Patreon. This episode sponsors our First Defense Krav Maga in Virginia and Pupcakes and Pastries, who recently gave me some wonderful treats for Rosie to give her on Christmas. I can't wait to do that. I'm recording this just a few days before the big day. She's going to be so excited. Anyway, so thank you, Pupcakes and Pastries, for the gifties. Their links are in the description of the show. And of course, shout out to my badass recruit, Melissa P. And because people have been getting busy with holiday stuff and they have not been sending me questions to answer on the air in time for this show, I'm just going to shout you all out. Okay? So, this is for my patrons. Meatheads, Byron C., Bob VV, Adrian C., Zachary M., Bridget H., Stephen K. Thank you. Thank you, Meatheads. Hunters, this goes out to Tim G., Zach H., Kevin M., Lauren A. And last but not least, my demons, Elaine E., Justin C., Erica, Scott, Fruno, Nicole T., Rick G., Stephen I., Matt M., hey friend, Matthew Y., and Michael B. If you're listening to this and want to support my work with the podcast or my Safer Space trainings and my new adventure in training to become an intimacy director, you can also opt in at a monthly $2 or $5 patronage. It doesn't get you a shout out, but it does get you my unending gratitude. of course, you can contribute more for more perks and more fun behind the scenes stuff. So go to my Patreon, link in the show notes, but it's just Patreon/Shawna Potter. Okay, are they gone? Are the pro-lifers gone? All right, in a bit, I talk with Priya and Lynn from the Baltimore Abortion Fund, who helped me understand the Supreme Court stuff a little better and shared how individuals and communities can help address the immediate needs of someone seeking abortion care. And they taught me some stuff about abortion funds that I did not know. So it's a very cool interview. Stay tuned. But coming up right now, my interview with indie pop artist MuMu on her song Wrapped Up, parentheses, Post-Roe, end parentheses. It was released shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court officially reversed Roe v. Wade, effectively creating large pockets of the country where abortion is not an option. This is clearly a subject I take very seriously. I've written multiple songs about it. But even so, you might notice in the interview times when MuMu and I just start laughing. I don't know about you, but I can't physically stay angry 24/7. Even though there seems to be unending reasons why we all should be, I think to continue to fight, there are times when you just have to laugh at the absurdity of it all and find joy where you can. Otherwise, you'll burn out and then you're no help to anyone. That's such a common theme with all the activists I interview and talk to. And frankly, it was a joy to speak with MuMu, and so I hope you enjoy listening. Interview time! MuMu, thank you so much for joining me on But Her Lyrics. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, thanks for having me, Shawna. I'm MuMu, and I'm a New York City-based indie musician. I make theatrical, pop, political, lyrical stuff for your ears, and I'm happy to be here.
Now, you're categorized as indie pop on Bandcamp.
Okay, good to know.
So, someone decided that at some point.
Great.
And I think some folks that listen to the show might wonder why I've invited you on, because I always describe the show as like a little punk podcast. But I think it's still pretty fucking punk to talk about abortion in spaces where people aren't expecting it or where they maybe explicitly don't want to hear about it, like in the pop world. Do you feel that resistance from the people in your sphere when you put out a political song? Like, did this song cause a stir when it was released this past summer?
I mean, the stir was caused by our country. And yes, there's always trolls on the internet. Actually, there was some, when I put it out, there were some trolls coming at me, posting long, eloquent, unfactual comments on my pages, and then like these badass people, mostly women, but I salute you dudes that come for us as well.
Yes.
We're sort of, responding, and it was turning into this big uproar on the internet. And I had this dinner with this chick I met on the plane on the way to Europe. She's very cool, Celia. And she's a neuroscientist, and she told me about some study where the conclusion, I'm a musician, so I can't really do science well, but the conclusion of the study was when you are sort of in between, like you have a hunch something might be true, but you're not sure, and you read about that, it becomes very true in your mind. Mm-hmm. And the takeaway is when we leave comments up with fake information, that can contribute to pushing people over the line into believing these things that they had fears about or curiosity about. And I knew that some of the things that some of these people were posting were very false. And so Celia just gave me the power of knowledge to just delete the comments. And wow, it was so liberating. And so I'm putting that out there for anybody who, because we have a lot of like comments help the algorithm bullshit but what are our priorities? And my priority was what I write about in this song, and delivering stories about women who are really put in a terrible place because of what's happening in this country. And my priority is not to have an enormous amount of comments or to give some man with false information a platform to stand on. So there you go.
That's amazing. You know, that actually for anyone that listens to the show, it reminds me of my conversation with Ian Danskin from last season, where we're talking about how do you actually combat true false information, not fake news in quotes, but like actual false information, things that are dangerous and alt-righty. And we talk about anytime there's a comment up that's just fake like that, you either delete it or you counter it with something that's actually true and more compassionate, so that people know that it's not the only thing, the only viewpoint out there. And I think that is so important. And I love that other people kind of came to your post
They do.
So that you didn't have to. It's like, I feel that way too as a musician. It's like, well, I wrote the song. Do I have to do all the work online?
Yeah, do I have to justify it? And yes, and defend it? And do I have to be an incredible political speaker because I write about political songs or political topics? But I don't. And I know that there's a lot of stuff I have to work on as far as like caring about social media goes. But one thing I'm perfectly fine with not taking part in is a back and forth with somebody who's just there to frustrate me. There's some weird instinct within that, you know, I don't know what it's about. Power, needing attention, never getting the love from their mother, whatever the fuck it's about. Like, I can't help them with that. And we can just do this all day long. And I'm not gonna be able to make anything. I'm not gonna be able to be creative because I'm sitting online, like arguing with a troll. So no, not doing the second option. I'm just deleting.
I was curious in listening to the song. I was thinking that there can often be a large gap in time between writing a song and then actually releasing it.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, when did you start writing this song?
I released this song, a very extended version of it, maybe about a year ago.
And that's just the wrapped up version, like just wrapped up, because the one that we're talking about is wrapped up parentheses Post-Roe.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's a different version. Okay. So this is wrapped up about a year ago. All right.
Right. So I guess I'm going to go back in time, but a little out of order. This Post-Roe wrapped up was released very shortly after Roe v. Wade got shot down. And the day Roe v. Wade got shot down, I was in Florida with my manager. We woke up to the news. I was there opening up for Pussy Riot that night at a Pride event. So pumped about it. You know, we flew in the night before, got our burritos, went to bed, woke up, pumped for the day, and Roe v. Wade gone. So we bawl, naturally. I'm on the toilet. She's on the couch. I open the door and we bawl from the toilet to the couch. And try to, you know, talk about our feelings because that's what, you know, we're good at and that's what's important to do. And then I was like, fuck, I can't. How am I going to party tonight? Like, this is horrible. I want to go. I want to get under the covers. But then I was like, hold on a second. Roe v. Wade got shot down and I have a microphone that I get to stand in front of tonight. That's such an honor. And I, you know, immediately was really grateful for the opportunity. And then it's like fucking Pussy Riot. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Plug for Pussy Riot. Yeah. I mean, talk about punk. They really know how to bring it. And then there was a scramble because I didn't have the gear to switch out the track and I wanted a new, I hadn't performed Wrapped Up in a long time and I was playing with track that night and I wanted to cut down. I wanted to take the, you know, all the extensions, the bridge, the instrumentals out and just tell these stories because it's a song with 3 different stories about 3 different women, all who are in need of an abortion. And we did the edit and it was like a big scramble. I had to give the track directly to the sound guy and was like, when I point at you, can you just play the song? And he was like, but I thought you were running a track. And I was like, play the fucking song. Okay. The world is burning. And I got to talk publicly on that stage about how, you know, Roe v. Wade being gone doesn't stop abortions from happening. It stops them from being safe. Mm-hmm. And I felt the support of the crowd. And that's what's nice about playing live. Like most of the time when they're not supportive, you don't hear from them. They just go silent. And then the ones who are,
they're scared in person to challenge you.
Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pussy Riot gets on, I'm like I'm trying to, I'm empathizing with the difficulty of this issue, but all of those people out there who are going to be affected by this. And then Pussy Riot gets on stage and the lead singer's like, vasectomies prevent abortion. And I was like, oh, I'm in the right place. This is perfect. But I wrote this song and I made this song with this wonderful human, Jamie Lawrence. And when I was writing the lyrics, I was in the sound booth because we like to just like boom, 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 like let's get in. We don't know what we're making, and then let's make something. And so I'm in the sound booth trying to write some lyrics. And I remember every time I was writing for this song and every time I recorded for it, I literally had cramps. And I'm not,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm not like a woo-woo kind of I'm a very practical sort of, I don't follow astrology. Sorry. But the moon is just, it's pretty, but yeah. But like this song really, really affected me physically. And
Wow.
I wasn't sure why. I mean, it's so obvious, but I kept getting cramps and I was like, what is going on? This can't keep happening. My period is just occurred. It's not coming soon. And I realized that there was something happening between my brain and my body that I was sort of not noticing until I noticed. It was a difficult song to make.
You're having little mini abortions in solidarity. No,
I'll
probably cut that.
Please don't cut that. Damn.
So you had a longer extended version, and then kind of is it because you knew the Supreme Court ruling was coming up that you decided to like make some cuts and re-release it to be a more straightforward version?
I performed that song that night and got off stage and was like, let's get this ready for a release.
Now, this, like you said, this song goes through like 3 different situations, 3 different women's stories about, abortion maybe being the right choice for them, but they're denied having one. Do you often write narrative lyrics, like telling a story start to finish, or is this kind of an outlier for you?
Yeah, I think that's where the theatricality really comes in. And I tried to resist that for a long time. I'm like,
really?
Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, I'm like, maybe because I grew up writing music from when I was 9. I remember my first song. It's not that good, unfortunately, but
well, no one's is. Mine was about my pick that I was holding while playing guitar. I wrote it about
gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Mine was like a "Mom, break up with your husband" song.
Whoa.
Yes, it came out heavy from the start.
Yeah. Quite a baby feminist.
Yeah. It does. It all tracks. Yeah, I'm like, you need to find someone who treats you with respect. That's the lyric in the song.
Love it.
Yeah. So I write very narrative songs, and I started with writing music, and then ended up sometime at the end of high school acting professionally. And I had been, pushing that area, and then I had an agent and I was making money. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
And, the songs are like my sort of diary, and this acting thing will be my gig. And then, with that, and I like to sing. So I ended up in musical theater for a while and did some Broadway. And so I was very much in that world, and it influenced me. And that's, we grow up sort of like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm going to be this one day. And it's like, actually, every single fucking thing that I did on every day is now who I am. It's all part of the picture.
Yeah.
So the theater really came in, and, at some point, I guess 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I decided to put acting on the shelf and tell the stories I wanted to tell. I felt really limited to what kind of messages I was putting out there. I was just sort of a vehicle for someone else's messages. And oftentimes they were messages that were influenced by capitalism and, what's going to make money, what's going to run on the air longest, blah, 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 blah. And I wanted to talk about shit that I cared about. So I started releasing music. First song was Free the Nip. And there's always a story. I'm working on finding the balance of giving, it's not like when you listen to the song, you have to listen to a story. Like if you're listening to the song, you're listening to the song. I want the option of you can listen to the story or you can just chill and like continue making that bread that you're making and talking to yourself,
Right.
your grandma, whatever you're doing. I'm like I have like a very domestic feminist woman in my mind.
You got to eat, so make your
You
bread.
gotta eat and make that bread. I mean, like you'll feel great about it after. But yeah, they're very narrative, all of the songs, and I'm sort of embracing it now while I'm throwing in that theatrical, you know, word into my song genre.
I mean, I was going to save it for later, but I could not pass up the chance to ask you about the fact that you were in a fucking movie called Best Summer Ever.
Oh yeah,
I could only watch the trailer. I don't know if I could like see it anywhere for free, but if so, I'll probably do it tonight.
it's on Hulu now.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Has
Oh,
the rights
great.
to it. Yeah.
All right, so everyone watch Best Summer Ever on Hulu. It seems like a lovely movie. That lead actress, her voice is fantastic.
Oh my goddess. Yeah, Shannon DeVito.
And you're one of the stars of this movie. That's insane.
Well, so I'm the head songwriter of the soundtrack. It's a musical feature film.
God.
And I was lucky enough to music supervise and produce the vocals on all the songs. So yeah, Shannon DeVito rips on this
Wow.
power ballad, and I got to be in the studio with her and see it happen, and it was incredible. So the movie is a form of activism in itself. It's the first feature film with SAG-AFTRA, which is the union for all the big things that go on TV, and it's the first SAG-AFTRA feature film to ever have over half the cast and crew with people with disabilities. So it's really it was really incredible to make this and learn so much from everybody involved, and write these songs and then hear them colored in this way that I could have never imagined by these voices from people with different minds and different bodies than me. And like you write a song and you're like, okay, this is whatever, and then you hear someone else who is their own beautiful creature bring it to life, and it was a really incredible experience to make that movie. And yes, I'm also the cheerleader bitch in the movie, and
Love it.
apologies in advance for
That's the role I would want. I love it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that I just thought that was so cool, and researching you, like all these different things that you've done, and yeah, there's no question there. I just think it's rad. High five.
Yay. Thanks, virtual high five. Woohoo.
Okay, back to the song.
Okay.
Wrapped up, Post-Roe.
I'm already getting cramps just talking about it.
Oh no.
Damn.
It's say as much or as little as you want, obviously, about this, but is there a specific incident that inspired the writing of this song, or was it just this general feeling of frustration with the way things are going with these laws?
I mean, I think every single person with female anatomy in this country has a specific story with how they feel about what's going on. Apparently people with male anatomy do too. I'm not sure why, but there we are. And I've not had an abortion. It's not that I wouldn't have an abortion. It's that I haven't had to. I wanted to approach this song with compassion for people who are against abortions, because it was a long journey for me, but I came to find that people who believe differently than me are not bad people. And that it's really, I mean, it is funny how hard that was for me to come to. But a big journey with that was thinking about how when I was a kid, I thought I was not for abortions. And I'm talking like 8 years old,
Sure.
My sister got pregnant when she was 17 and had my niece, and I sort of somehow connected those things because I knew everyone around was like, ooh, a teen mom, like hush, hush, hush. And to me, I was like, my sister's a rock star and I love my niece. And when I remember talking to a friend who had, a family that talked about this subject more, I guess, because he was more informed. Yeah, it was a dude. He was like, abortions are they're good. We need those. We need those available for women. And I was like, but my niece, I love my niece. And it really like it was such a small box of information that I was working with.
Mm.
And when I, continue these conversations, when I got a little older, more was revealed. It was like, yeah, you like having an abortion. It doesn't mean every baby should be aborted. It means that somebody should choose, or it doesn't mean you need to have
Right.
an abortion. It just means like that you aren't choosing for someone else. And another concept that I learned more about was abortions aren't really done willy-nilly. Like
Right.
they're not just a casual like teeth cleaning at the dentist. Like I knew that, but then I fully realized that when recently, I guess it was about a year ago now, I was in close contact with a friend who got an abortion. And she's someone who, had been donating to Planned Parenthood and was very outspoken about her, pro-choice beliefs. But when it came to her, it was a really hard decision to make. And it was not with the right person, and it was not at the right time, and her finances are not there. And, like there were so many reasons why she wasn't really, wanting to try to make this baby situation happen right now. But her body went through so much. Her mind went through so much. Her heart is still broken about it.
Mm.
And it's a year later. And witnessing that, I was like, wow, we misunderstand a lot of this. At least some of us misunderstand a lot of this. So with the song, as I went on my own journey with realizing all of the, it's all the complexities of this topic, I wanted to not preach and not tell people what to believe. I just wanted to tell some stories. And so the first verse is about a kid who is having a hard time at home, and her mom isn't very present with her, and it's just the two of them. And there's a boy who sort of, says the right things, does the right things, plays the part, and until he can have sex with her, that's what he's after. I'm not I'm not trying to make boys, the problem, but like as a kid, a lot of kids, the boys are conditioned to believe that sex is their goal, and the girls are,
Yeah.
conditioned to believe that not having sex is their goal, and blah. So this daughter, this kid, she gets pregnant and she tries to get an abortion, and walking into the clinic, people screamed and rocks were thrown at her.
Lyric reference.
The second verse is about a college student who gets roofied and needs an abortion, and her mom blames her and sort of, guilts her into having this child when, she's right in the middle of getting a college degree. She suddenly needs to have a child and raise a child. And the third verse is about a woman who is raising 5 children on her own, and she lives in a state where abortions are not legal. And her ex, shows up, and they have like a fling for a night, and he takes off in the morning as usual, and turns out she's pregnant, and she tries to find a place to get an abortion, and she can't drive 10 hours, and she can't leave her 5 kids at home, and she can't afford to take off work, and she ends up drinking herself to death, that she dies.
Just a light indie pop song.
Really fun. Yeah. Really, like you can definitely just, cruise and bake your bread while you listen to this song. I'm baking bread right now, by the way.
I like in the song that you're talking about families, the family pressure, societal pressure, and then just like a lack of access, the strategic lack of access. And so you show that it's not just one thing, and that it's complicated, and everyone has their reasons. And it's just a really humanizing way, obviously, to talk about this issue. Which I think, I believe in diverse tactics, right? And so I think we need all kinds of different stories and art made about reproductive justice so that at some point everyone will get the message.
Hopefully. And there's a huge problem with the way information is spread in different areas of the country. And I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that there's some very, very good, wonderful people who are very much against abortions being legal in this country. I don't know how to reach them. It can get very disheartening making music like this and see things like Roe v. Wade getting shot down happen. But, I do it because I have a certain amount of time on the planet, and this is kind of the only thing I know how to do. And it's the only thing that really matters to me. So why not just make my contribution, whether it's for the 2 people on Instagram who write to me about their abortions and how grateful they are to hear this, or for, changing laws. I don't know where any of it goes. I just need to get it out.
Do you have any recommendations for someone that's looking to radicalize themselves? Any organizations, books, media, anything at all?
Yes. So I would recommend Keep Our Clinics. It's a great place to learn about, if you want to be supporting a certain clinic in your state or in another state, whatever your reasons are, they have all of the clinics listed, the independently funded clinics. And that's everybody makes their contribution in different ways. You might want to donate dollars. You might want to volunteer. You might want to write a song, whatever it is. Like, there's options out there. I think we're sort of, at least me, I can lean toward, and I feel like we're as a society, an all or nothing kind of person or people. And there's actually all of this gray area. Like, you don't need to absolutely do nothing for a cause you care about, and you don't have to devote your life to it. You can find an independent abortion, provider in your state or another state that you care about and donate $10 a month. There's prochoiceamerica.org has a lot of good information. Abortionsfinder.org is a good place is a resource for those who need abortions. And I would say, like, my suggestion would be to think about what you have the capacity for, and, like, budget in all the other cool stuff you're doing in your life and your self-care and whatever. I know we all have a lot going on, but think about, like, is it a financial thing that you can commit to, even a small one, or is it a volunteer-based thing, or is it making phone calls, or whatever it is? Like, we can all make a difference, and it doesn't need to be, a life commitment.
Yeah, like, because otherwise it'll just wear us down.
Exactly.
We'll just experience that burnout and give up completely.
Exactly. Yeah. But we are powerful in numbers. And if we all are silently caring about something and sitting around wishing it would change, it's not going to. But we can all make a practical, reasonable contribution, and magic will happen. So I urge people to not get discouraged. I also validate you feeling discouraged, because I feel discouraged on a regular basis. But then I need to put my big girl pants on and get the fuck out there and do something.
Get back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. To end on something a little more fun, as far as I understand it.
Wait, that wasn't fun?
No, I mean, it's fun for me, but I'm a feminist killjoy, so.
Okay, great.
The song you released after Wrapped Up is called Honeymoon Sex, and it's described as an ode to one-night stands. So whose genius idea was that, to release that song after Wrapped Up?
That would be me.
I love it. I love that juxtaposition. Tell me about that.
I have ADHD.
Okay.
So that's my reasoning. As you know, music takes a long time to make and then prep for release. And like, you mix and you master, and then you send it to the distribution, and then you get your plan together and blah, 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 blah. So like, it's months and months later. Honeymoon Sex is a song about having unrealistic expectations for a one-night stand. It's a sort of, it's a total pivot. Or not. I don't know.
Or not.
Depends
That's what
how
I
you
love.
interpret it. Yeah. Maybe in the jukebox musical, they're actually like directly related. Honeymoon Sex would come first, though, and then Wrapped
Yes.
Up.
Yeah, I think the order's backwards, but yeah, I
it's a
think
little
they're
backwards. Yeah, okay. So Honeymoon Sex, like, I'm sort of a intimacy junkie when it comes to any relationships. Like, it's all or nothing. Again, I'm a very all or nothing person. And I was in between relationships and in that rebound mode, and was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind hooking up with someone. Like, that would be fun. But I really needed to be very intimate, and we need to be completely in love. And like, they need to tell me that they're ready to devote their life to our love and happiness. But then I also need want nothing, no commitment involved the next morning, because I really would like to be single right now.
It's a tough balance.
Yeah, it's tough. And Honeymoon Sex, I made a weird video for Honeymoon Sex that's out, but Honeymoon Love is a different it's just the word love instead of sex. And I did it with a lot of the cast that is in the movie Best Summer Ever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's super fun. It's like I think it's my favorite music video I've ever made, and I love making these things.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm
We'll
excited
put links to
release
everything
that.
in the show notes.
Yeah,
so people
okay.
can
Well,
watch it.
that'll come out at the end of November, so we'll give you the YouTube link and people can subscribe.
How funny. Well, tell everyone where they can find you online, or if there's anything you want to plug other than that video that will be out by the time this episode's out.
Ooh, fun. You can find me at Music of MuMu. That's MUMU. That's on all the platforms. I have a lot of fun videos on YouTube and Instagrams where I post about shows. A fun thing that happened recently was Big Mouth on Netflix. They licensed my song Free the Nip for their second episode. And I just saw that.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I just saw it a couple days ago. It was very fun. And they use it well. Like, the episode's like about like nipple twisting eroticism, and then Free the Nip plays. And so that's pretty exciting.
That is amazing. That's great. I've had a song license before, and it's just such a nice treat.
Oh God. I mean, the money's good, but just also the like, wow, my song found a home. That feels so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. So link to that as well in the show notes. MuMu, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate you spending some time with me to talk about the song Wrapped Up Post-Roe.
Thanks, Shawna. I really love the work you're doing, and I'm grateful to be on this podcast today.
Thanks again to MuMu for donating your time and having a wonderful chat with me. The personal is political, and I think her song does a great job of making the political personal, making it harder for people to have these theoretical conversations when really this shit affects individual lives. Diverse tactics, baby. All right, at the end of the episode, of course, we'll be playing MuMu's song Wrapped Up Post-Roe. But for now, my conversation with Lynn and Priya from the Baltimore Abortion Fund, who lend their expertise to the big questions, like, what the fuck is going on? And what can we do? Well, hi, everyone. Thank you both so much for joining me on But Her Lyrics. This is the first time I've had two guests at once. Why don't you introduce yourselves to everybody?
Sure, I can go first. My name is Lynn McKenya, and I'm the co-director of the Baltimore Abortion Fund.
And my name is Priya Hay Chatterjee. I am the communications manager of the Baltimore Abortion Fund.
So I admit I haven't always known what an abortion fund is. So just for anyone that hasn't heard of that, what is an abortion fund and why are they needed?
Yeah. So for some kind of historical context and background, so the Hyde Amendment, which is still the law of the land federally, prohibits federal funding of abortion care. And also in addition to that, many health insurers, and so that includes some private insurers and Medicaid in many states, don't cover the cost of abortions. So abortion funds help meet that need and make abortion care more accessible by funding our clients' abortions, and also in some cases providing practical support like transportation and childcare for folks who are having abortions. And so the Baltimore Abortion Fund specifically serves people who are in Maryland or are traveling to Maryland to have abortions. We're often small and community-based organizations, and we're flexible in terms of the support and eligibility for support that we can offer.
Right. So not just the service, but the expenses that might come around getting the service, the travel and childcare and all that stuff. That's great. I'm embarrassed to admit when I finally learned about abortion funds, because for a long time I was only ever aware of Planned Parenthood, which provides direct services, and maybe like NARAL. Are abortion funds new? Like, how long have they been around?
So the Baltimore Abortion Fund was established in 2014. Most abortion funds are, in terms of how old nonprofits often are, a lot of abortion funds are relatively new, but they're not new in that they're meeting a need that is new.
Mm.
Yeah, this is Lynn. I just wanted to add on that, like, I think the concept of an abortion fund is something that's like certainly in people's minds since, the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs, but the concept of communities of care and communities taking care of each other and making sure that we can access reproductive health care, that we can get abortions, has gone on for decades and centuries, honestly. So while many people may be hearing about the concept of an abortion fund for a long time, these structures and these systems of care have been in place, and it's all part of mutual aid and taking care of each other.
Yeah, it falls under mutual aid, right? And it just seems more like official and organized now, maybe than it was in the past. Like we can be more open and honest about it and advertise it as a place, that you can go to for help.
And there are even some abortion funds that have been around for decades, since before Roe was codified in the 70s, or right around the time that Roe was codified in the 70s. There are a few abortion funds that have been around for that long.
So you mentioned, Priya, the recent you both have mentioned the recent Supreme Court decision. For anyone that doesn't speak legalese, can you give us the elevator pitch version of the recent Supreme Court decision? Like, what happened and what does it mean?
Yeah, so the recent Supreme Court decision on abortion rights was called Dobbs v. Jackson, or Dobbs for short. So the Dobbs decision overturned two cases, actually. It overturned Roe versus Wade, the 1973 decision that legalized abortion nationally. And it also overturned Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which was a 1992 decision that prevented states from placing an undue burden, so basically unnecessary barriers on accessing abortion care. And some background on abortion rights in the US that kind of help understand where we are now. Dobbs was not the beginning of the end of abortion rights. Ever since Roe was decided, states and localities with conservative, Christian, fascist governments have been finding their own creative ways to curb abortion access. And several states in which abortion is now illegal only had one or two clinics to serve millions of people before Dobbs was decided. So in a lot of rural areas, people were already experiencing this sexual and reproductive health apartheid, essentially, and a healthcare apartheid in general, in which there are very few avenues through which they could actually access care. So at the time that Dobbs was decided, several states had what we were calling trigger laws, meaning that if Roe and Casey were overturned, abortion would either immediately become illegal or it would become very heavily restricted in those states. So in a nutshell, Dobbs removed federal protections of abortion rights, allowing states to decide for themselves whether abortion should remain legal and what barriers should or should not exist when patients are trying to access care. And I think a big function of DOBS has been causing confusion. A lot of people thought that the Dobbs decision meant that abortion is now illegal, and were not aware of protections already existing in some states. So while Dobbs did allow abortions to become illegal or very heavily restricted in some areas, more so than they were before, it's also caused this massive amount of confusion as to whether abortion is or is not legal in a state, but also just nationally.
And that's just another barrier. So in this episode's song, MuMu describes 3 different scenarios when people might have preferred to get an abortion, but it wasn't an option for them. I'm not sure if you read the lyrics, but did any of the situations stick out for you?
Yeah, so I think the last situation with the single parent who's already raising 6 kids stuck out to me personally. Because what a lot of people don't realize about abortion care is that the majority of people who have abortions are already parents or they have already given birth before. So having an abortion isn't always just about deciding whether to become a parent, but also whether you want to parent more children. And so abortion bans are cruel in any case, but especially in a country with very limited support for families, like no universal pre-K, no free childcare, very limited public transit often. Not being able to access an abortion means that resources aren't increasingly scarce just for the pregnant person, but also for all the people who depend on them. So in that case, it's not just one person's life trajectory who's being affected, it's everybody else who's dependent on that person.
I was going to ask, what are the patterns? Who is actually getting these procedures most often? And you're answering a lot of them are parents already. Why is it helpful for us to know that, like the reality? Because I think the right is trying to paint a certain picture of just completely, like, it's completely immoral and there's no wiggle room. It's like very black and white. But that probably isn't the case.
Yeah. As with most situations in our lives, there's very little that is black and white.
Right.
And often, I mean, everybody has abortions, really. The number is, I think, about 1 in 4 people who have reproductive capabilities will have an abortion in their lifetime. And so that doesn't just apply to people on the left. There are people who are anti-abortion who have abortions too. That's not to say that if you're anti-abortion, you don't deserve access to an abortion, because everybody who wants to be able to have an abortion should be able to, and you should be able to access that care in your own community. But that's unfortunately not the landscape that we're in right now. Everybody has abortions, but not everybody has equitable access to them.
And I think like one of the things that's really stuck with me is just that we should trust people to make their own decisions about their healthcare, about their bodies. And so to try to paint this as a black or a white issue, as something that is, polarizing, divisive, one side is right, one side is wrong, really ignores all of the complexity and nuances of people's lives, and the fact that we should all be empowered to make the best decision for ourselves, for our families, and to control our futures. And there's no amount of theoretical moral argument that somebody can make from their own perspective that can be so broadly applied to like every aspect of human life and every decision that somebody might want to make.
Right. That shouldn't be federal law for everyone. Yeah.
Right.
Another little fact, the vast majority of people who have abortions are poor or low income. So if the only option for accessing abortion care is to take time off work, travel a long distance to get to your appointment, then that's not an exception for somebody who can already barely make ends meet in the first place and has a busy schedule. So everybody of every background has abortions. But it is also important to understand the socioeconomic factors that affect abortion access as well.
Mm-hmm. And it ties directly into MuMu's song lyrics too, of a mother of six looking at what the landscape of abortion access looks like in her state and realizing that she would have to drive 6 hours to get to the nearest clinic, and childcare, gas money, taking off time from work, all of the factors that Priya just mentioned can be overwhelming obstacles for someone to overcome, and why abortion funds exist in the first place.
What do you wish people knew about abortion? Like, what do you not get asked about enough?
One big mission that abortion funds and a lot of abortion access advocacy organizations are facing right now is we all wish people knew that abortion pills are safe and effective.
Okay.
And that you can get abortion pills in all 50 states. There's not a whole lot of awareness about self-managed abortion, and a lot of the impressions that we have of self-managed abortion, of, coat hanger imagery, is that it is violent and dangerous and unsafe. But abortion pills are very safe. They're very effective. And you can even order them online. So sites like plancpills.org and ineedana.com can direct you to ways to access abortion in your state. And that can sometimes include buying abortion pills online and getting them shipped to you in the event that you can't access abortion care in your state.
What are the next few steps in this fight, like post the SCOTUS decision? How can people help right now? What should we be doing? Should we be stocking up on abortion pills in our own homes? Should we be donating? What should we do?
Buying abortion. We fully encourage people to buy abortion pills. And if you have the money to have them on hand and pass them around, then absolutely go for it. The next step statewide for Maryland is codifying abortion rights in our state's constitution. So right now, abortion access is legally codified into our law, but not into the actual constitution of the state of Maryland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought we were safe here. I thought everything was fine here, but there's an extra step to make it.
Yeah, so we are relatively in a pretty safe space for abortion protections right now. But yeah, codifying abortion rights in our state's constitution would be the next step to really ensure that that is a standard moving forward, and that it's going to be something that if somebody were to try to remove that from the Constitution, that would be a very difficult process. So what folks should keep in mind, what folks should keep an eye on in 2023 is that during the legislative session, that codification will be coming up for votes. And then the way that would be implemented is that we would have a ballot initiative in 2024 for Maryland voters to affirm that they want this codified in the state's constitution. So that's something that we will be seeing come up in 2023 and 2024. And so I would encourage folks to keep an eye out for action alerts from the Maryland Reproductive Rights Coalition. So that's one way that you can stay informed about abortion access in Maryland specifically. Another is to donate to and or volunteer with your local abortion fund. We will always plug donating to and volunteering with the Baltimore Abortion Fund. We are always accepting volunteer interest forms. We always welcome donations. One-time donations are great, but we also appreciate monthly donations, big or small, that help us budget for upcoming months. So keeping an eye on what's happening in the state legislature this upcoming session will be really key. And then finding out how to get involved with your local abortion fund is one way that you can help get involved in the community responsibility of helping people access abortion locally.
I love that response, Priya. And I think one other important piece of context to add is like, there's kind of these two parallel but equally important paths forward for further expanding abortion access. There's the legal avenues, which here in Maryland are very state specific and are about like strengthening our existing protections. But then there's also the immediate reality where people across the country do not have access to care right now. And so in addition to pursuing some of these longer term strategies around legality and federal protections, et cetera, there's also the very immediate present where donating to an abortion fund literally translates into someone having enough money for a bus ticket or a plane ticket or enough money to pay for their procedure to actually get the care that they need. So it's twofold. It's about protecting people in this moment and supporting each other in this moment while we are working in tandem to some of these legal strategies, especially on the state and federal level, which will take like really like years to come to fruition and kind of undo the ramifications of what we're currently seeing.
And those ramifications are real, right? Like, it's not hyperbole to say people will die without access to abortion. Yes?
Yeah, it's essential life-changing healthcare, period. And there are people whose lives are in physical danger, especially Black, brown, queer, trans people who are living at the intersections of various oppressions, living as part of a healthcare system that is already making it difficult for them to access care. So yes, for many people in the U.S., abortion access is a life or death issue. It's not hyperbole to say that. I can't like really sum it up any more than that.
That'll do it. Where can people best find the Baltimore Abortion Fund, and where can people find their maybe local abortion fund?
Yeah, so we are at baltimoreabortionfund.org and Baltimore Fund on Instagram. And if you follow us on social media, then you'll also see every now and then if we have a request, if we have time-sensitive funding requests to meet an urgent need, you'll see those requests. You'll see those asks on our social media pages. And on our website, you can find more information about the services that we offer to support people who are having abortions and need money to fund their abortions. And then we also have a blog on there with just more information about the movement for abortion rights. Yeah, Lynn, did you have anything to add there?
No, just to shout out that Priya's been writing some really awesome articles for our blog all about like pushing back against abortion stigma, what to know about later abortion care in Maryland. So if you want to learn more specifically about local access, local issues in abortion care, that's like a really Maryland specific source of information.
And then for finding other abortion funds. So the National Network of Abortion Funds has an abortion fund directory. So if you plug in your city or your address, your zip code, you can locate the abortion fund that is nearest to you or abortion funds in your state in general. The National Network of Abortion Funds has a list and will be able to direct you to the resources that are local to you.
Cool. Well, obviously, I'll put all that in the show notes and anything else that y'all are able to send me, any links or resources will be there. So look out for that. And Lynn, Priya, thank you both so much for joining me on short notice to talk about abortion. Yay! I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We love talking about abortion. So any chance that we get to do it, we are there.
Me too. keep listening to hear MuMu's song Wrapped Up Post-Roe. You can support this podcast by liking my YouTube channel and sharing, subscribing, and reviewing But Her Lyrics wherever you get your podcasts. It's free and it helps. To find episode transcripts or to find more about what I do, my book, my trainings, my Patreon, head to shawnapotter.com. To learn about all things War on Women, head to our link tree at linktree.ee/waronwomen. All of those links we mentioned in the interviews are in this episode's description. While writing and editing this episode, I think my area of improvement is to hold others close with love and empathetic curiosity, and to recognize that by doing so, it does not invalidate my anger. I'd love to hear your area of improvement if you're willing to share. Thanks for listening. Abortion forever.
Daughter of a child raised by the sea, has yet to know all she can be. She watched her mother mend her heart with many men till she fell apart. This child tried the best she could to find a boy who understood. He took her hand and swore a lie until she opened up her thighs. And when she went to the doctor, people screamed and rocks would roll. They wanted a child, to have a child of her own. All the fear you give and all the faith you hold is heavy on her, heavy heart of gold. All your virtue and strong beliefs wrapped up in her destiny. Mama's strict, but freedom's here. She's on her own, it's freshman year. Studies hard and gets the grades. It's Friday, time to celebrate. A charming boy who warms her up, puts her choice in a solo cup. On a red light he passes go. She didn't say yes or no. And when she talked to her mother, she was shamed and she was blamed. 9 months later, the child was born without a name. All the fear you give and all the faith you hold is heavy on her, heavy heart of gold. All her hard work and all her dreams wrapped up in her destiny. Works day and night with 6 mouths to feed, money's tight. She never cried or wanted more, forgot her dreams so long before. Her ex shows up with one desire, one night to rekindle fire. He left her there with bills to pay and one more child on the way. And when she looked at her options, she'd have to drive all through the night. She drank till she bled. Now 6 mouths will go unfed. All the fear you give, all the faith you hold, heavy heart of gold. You're wide awake, she's fast asleep in her destiny. There's things that hateful I can't see. Love don't judge and peace don't scream. Mind your own destiny.